Good morning. Welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Thursday, January the 16th. We're here to look at the new releases that have been published this week. And on Thursdays, we look at fantasy and science fiction. Every day of the week, we look at a different genre. And we try to cover as many as possible so that we as Bookeemonsters have choices. That's all we're doing. We just want to see what's out there. Hope you're having a good day. Quick announcements. I do have sprints tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm in the Mountain Time Zone, so that is 6 p.m. my time. I work until 5. I get here as quickly as I can. That's why it is so somewhat late on the East Coast, because I'm not on the East Coast. But yes, tonight we do have sprints. Our next sprints after that are on Saturday afternoon. Let's jump into fantasy and science fiction. What you got for us today? First up, Killer App by Dr. James R. Gregory. These are 2 novellas. Artificial intelligence was a godsend until it took over his life. I don't really do novellas, but if you want a couple of them featuring artificial intelligence, we will move on. Daughter of Chaos by A.S. Webb, first in the Dark Pantheon trilogy. For mortals to be free, the gods must fall. In ancient Greece, mortals suffer under the tyranny of the gods, forced to sacrifice the food they depend on, their worldly possessions, and even each other at the whims of the 12. But an ancient prophecy speaks of hope, of one who will set humankind free. On the island of Naxos, Danae, a fisherman's daughter, develops strange powers tied to a mysterious tree bearing golden fruit. Driven from her home, she seeks guidance from the oracle, but finds only more questions and whispers of a secret network of believers who have long been awaiting her arrival. Determined to learn more, Danae joins forces with the legendary Hercules and his crew. Does he look like Kevin Sorbo? Together, they battle monsters and gods alike on a quest to the end of the world as Danae seeks the one who holds the key to her destiny. But a terrifying truth is yet to be unlocked, a truth that could destroy the world as she knows it. Danae must choose to follow her destiny or her heart, while the fate of humanity rests on her shoulders. Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. Disabled, disinclined to marry, and more interested in writing than a lucrative career in medicine or law, Zelu has always felt like the outcast of her large Nigerian family. Then her life is upended when, in the middle of her sister's lavish Caribbean wedding, she's unceremoniously fired from her university job, and to add insult to injury, her novel is rejected by yet another publisher. With her career and dreams crushed in one fell swoop, she decides to write something just for herself. What comes out is nothing like the quiet literary novels that have so far peppered her unremarkable career. It's a far future epic where androids and AI wage war in the grown-over ruins of human civilization. She calls it Rusted Robots. When Zulu finds the courage to share her strange novel, she does not realize she's about to embark on a life-altering journey, one that will catapult her into literary stardom, but also perhaps obliterate everything her book was meant to be. From Chicago to Lagos to the far reaches of space, Zelu's novel will change the future not only for humanity, but for the robots who come next. Hi, Annalise. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. And there's Ariel. Good morning. Daughter of Chaos sounds great. Adding to my cart. Oh, cool. This is Hamajane Luck by Makana Yamamoto. Edie is done with crime. 8 years behind bars changes a person, costs them too much time with too many of the people who need them most, and it's all Angel's fault. She sold Edie out in what should have been the greatest moment of their lives. Instead, Edie was shipped off to the icy prison planet, spinning far below the soaring sky bridges and neon catacombs of Kepler space station, of home, to spend the best part of a decade alone. But then a chance for early parole appears out of nowhere, and Edie steps into the pallid sunlight to find none other than Angel waiting, and she has an offer. One last job, one last deal, one last target. The trillionaire tech god they failed to bring down last time. There's just one thing Edie needs to do: trust Angel again, which also happens to be the last thing Edie wants to do. What could possibly go all hammerjang about this plan? Interesting. End of row 1. Liar's Kingdom. And from the cover, it looks like a pissed off Cinderella. Elle has spent years toiling away for her cruel stepfamily, so when Prince Bayard, who seems to have difficulty recognizing faces, shows up at her door with a glass slipper, Elle allows him to believe she danced with him at the ball. There's just one problem. Elle didn't attend the ball, and she's never met the prince before in her life. But if it's a choice between moving to the royal palace or staying home, Elle is willing to say anything to escape. However, Elle finds that being royalty comes with its own problems. Bayard's sister, the princess, has gone missing. The king is preparing for war against the Fae, and Maxim, Bayard's treacherous and handsome best friend, appears to know Elle is lying. If Elle wants to keep this life she's stolen, she's going to have to roll up her sleeves and rescue herself. There's twists on Cinderella, and then there's a twist on Cinderella. She's not even Cinderella. Lightfall, Book 1 of the Everlands by Ed Crocker. How are we in America? Well, in my corner of America, we're doing pretty good. Supposed to get cold, cold, cold this weekend, though. How's your corner of Norway? Oh, this is vampires. For centuries, vampires freely roamed the land until the Greys came out of nowhere, wiping out half the population in a night. The survivors fled to the last vampire city of First Light, where the rules are simple. If you're poor, you drink weak blood. If you're nobility, you get the good stuff, and you can never, ever leave. Palace maid Sam has had enough of these rules, and she's definitely had enough of cleaning the bedpans of the lords who enforce them. When the son of the city's ruler is murdered and she finds the only clue to his death, she seizes the chance to blackmail her way into a better class and better blood. She falls in with the Leeches, a group of rebel maids who reign in the worst of the lords. Soon she's in league with a sorcerer whose deductive skills make up for his lack of magic, a deadly werewolf assassin, and a countess who knows a city's worth of secrets. There's just one problem. What began as a murder investigation has uncovered a vast conspiracy by the ruling elite, and now Sam must find the truth before she becomes another victim. If she can avoid getting murdered, she might just live forever. Ariel, that was definitely an angry son. Yeah, indeed. Whoa, look at this glass slipper. And at least, oh, good, no fire. It's very nice here. Oh, yeah, we're supposed to get in the 40s today, but this weekend is supposed to be single digits. Weather-wise, work-wise, we're just plugging along. The Distractions by Liza Monroy. Misha Osborne spends her days as a pro watcher, keeping distracted people on task and lonely ones accompanied from her Brooklyn mega building while eating petri meat steaks and working out with her favorite personal trainer, a straight-talking algorithm named Tori. Her carefully constructed, isolated existence is suddenly upended by a chance real space encounter with a highlight reel celebrity, Nicholas Edan Luciano. On their first date, hiking in cool suits and watching drone bees pollinate flowers, Misha experiences a brief but intense real space connection. Misha takes to relentlessly watching Nick on reel. As Misha's real watching spirals into an all-consuming obsession and even real space stalking, Misha takes increasingly desperate measures to be seen and valued, sucking others into her vortex of obsession until she completely loses control. Meanwhile, someone is equally obsessed with Misha, tracking her every move and perhaps even influencing her choices. A tale of how technology enables obsession, envy, and unrelenting comparison, told through an eccentric cast of interconnected characters. Very interesting. Can they pull it off? Don't know. The Way Up is Death by Dan Hanks. When a mysterious tower appears in the skies over England, 13 strangers are pulled from their lives to stand before it as a countdown begins. Above the doorway is one word: ascend. As they try to understand why they've been chosen and what the tower is, it soon becomes clear the only way out of this for everyone is up. And so begins a race to the top with the group fighting to hold on to its humanity through sinking ships, haunted houses, and other waking nightmares. Can they each overcome their differences and learn to work together? Or does the winner take all? What does the tower want of them, and what is the price to escape? End of row 2. Ariel says it's very cold in Virginia this morning. If only we had some snow, it would be perfect. Well, I think there's places in upper New York that would love to give you a lot of snow. It'd be nice if we could just ship things around like that. Water Moon by Samantha Sato-Yambao. On a back street in Tokyo lies a pawn shop, but not everyone can find it. Most will see a cozy ramen restaurant, and only the chosen ones, those who are lost, will find a place to pawn their life choices and deepest regrets. Hana Ishikawa wakes on her first morning as the pawn shop's new owner to find it ransacked, the shop's most precious acquisition stolen, and her father missing. And then into the shop stumbles a charming stranger, quite unlike its other customers, for he offers help instead of seeking it. Together they must journey through a mystical world to find Hana's father and the stolen choice. By way of rain puddles, rides on paper cranes, the bridge between midnight and morning, and a night market in the clouds. But as they get closer to the truth, Hana must reveal a secret of her own and risk making a choice that she will never be able to take back. Sounds very fantastical. We lived on the horizon. Ariel, what an interesting plot. Sounds like a beautiful read. I'll have to check on the reviews for this one. Yeah, once a book sort of intrigues me, my next step is to read the sample. Once, we look at these as, oh, here's things I never knew about. And then from there, did the author at least start to do a good job? We Lived on the Horizon by Erica Swiler. The city of Bulwark is aptly named, a walled city built to protect and preserve the people who managed to survive a series of great cataclysms. Bulwark was founded on a system where sacrifice is rewarded by the AI that runs the city. Over generations, an elite class has evolved from the descendants of those who gave up the most to found mankind's last stronghold, called the Sainted. Saint Anita Malavis, long accustomed to luxury, feels the end of her life and decades of work as a bioprosthesist approaching. The lone practitioner of her art, Anita is determined to preserve her legacy and decides to create a physical being called Nyx, filled with her knowledge and experience. In the midst of her project, a fellow sainted is brutally murdered, and the city AI inexplicably erases the event from its data. Soon, Anita and Nyx are drawn into the growing war that could change everything between Bulwark's hidden underclass and the programs that impose and maintain order. The concepts that pop into my head about this is the, what word am I looking for? The arrogance of wanting to preserve yourself like that. And what if we all did that? Would there be room for others to achieve greatness too? Because that is what allows people to try harder, be more creative. I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but I don't like it. But we can speculate about it in science fiction. Beasts of War by Ayana Gray. Once a prisoner to Fedu, the vengeful god of death, Kofi has regained her freedom, but she is far from safe. Fedu will stop at nothing to hunt her down and use her power to decimate the mortal world. Kofi knows when Fedu will strike during the next bonding, a once-in-a-lifetime celestial event. To survive, Kofi will have to find powerful new allies quickly and convince them to help her in the terrible battle to come. Once a warrior turned runaway, Ikon has carved out a new life for himself outside Lukosa, but the shadows of his past still haunt him. Now, alongside unexpected friends, Ikon tries to focus on getting Kofi to the Kasonga Plains before the next bonding. If he fails, Kofi will be consumed, either by her own dangerous power or the terrible fate Ikon is doing everything he can to prevent. Ikon devotes himself to protecting Kofi, but the lingering threats from his own past are more urgent than he knows. As Kofi and Ikon race to the Kasonga Plains and try to garner the help of Ishoza's ancient gods along the way, they must face a slew of dangerous beasts, old and new. In the end, destiny may unite Kofi and Ikon for the last time, or tear them apart for good. This is a conclusion to her series. Obviously, there was sounding like things had happened previously, but it doesn't say how many books. And I apologize for not pronouncing names and places correctly. I'm just winging it. The Unwanted Queen by Allison Anderson, 5th in the Cartographer's War. Penny Barclay thought eating Fairy's sacred fruit would keep the rebels from gaining the upper hand, but it all went sideways. Not only have the rebels found footing in Fairy and taken down the mist, but Penny is under fire by the Fae for their deep-rooted prejudices against mages. Even Aiden, or rather High King Aiden of Fairy, is rather put out with her. If she doesn't prove herself quickly, she'll find herself with more enemies in Fairy than just rebellion. With new attacks on every front, newly appointed High King Aiden is going to need a miracle to keep his kingdom together. Just as he was figuring out his new role, everything went awry. Now, not only must he get the warring courts to see eye to eye, but he also has to convince his entire kingdom that Penelope is not the villain they paint her as. As the rebellion gains more and more traction, Aiden's fight to keep the folk together is more imperative than ever. As the cartographer closes in, Penny and Aiden must unite the kingdom for good, or watch their people, mage and fae alike, perish at the brutal hands of the rebellion. And that's all we got. The other cool thing about finding a new book is like, oh, this is like 3rd in a series. I have 2 other books I might be able to check out. I find that comforting. Well, that's all we have for today. Tomorrow is Freeform Friday. We'll be looking at, we had some leftovers from the previous days. We'll probably look at more cozy mysteries and mysteries. I think I don't remember if there are any romances left over from yesterday. And then anything else that might have caught my attention that don't necessarily fall in these categories. Some nonfiction sometimes just straight historicals, things like that. Thank you, Annalise. So again, I do have sprints tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. They go for 2.5 hours. Bring your own book, work on a creative project, or just close your eyes after a day, whatever it is you'd like to do. This is just time and ambiance carved out to do that kind of self-care. Hope you are having a good Thursday and you're reading good books. I need to find what I'm going to read next. I finished my book last night, so I don't know what I'm in the mood for. All right, everybody, please take care. You guys are in my heart. And Ariel says, sounds good. I'll check back in later for sprints. Have a great day to all. Indeed. Back at you, baby. I almost hope I am up. It's okay if you're sleeping. Sleep is good. All right, everybody. Don't be a bookworm. Be a bookie monster. Nom, nom, nom. Have a good day. God bless.